Hi, I'm Saul Griffith from Rewiring America, a non-profit group advocating for aggressive electrification to fix our climate, to create jobs, to save every household money, and to improve our health. As everyone knows, we have a carbon dioxide problem. 87% of that comes from our energy system, the way we make and use our energy. We know this because we first mapped our energy system during the 1970s oil crisis. We created things called Sankey diagrams. And we divided the economy into somewhat arbitrary buckets, things that are called sectors that you might recognize. The commercial sector, where we work, the industrial sector, where we make our stuff, transportation sector, that moves us and our stuff around, the residential sector, which is where we live, and the electricity sector, which serves all of those four sectors. We also mapped what fuels went into those sectors, the barrels of oil, the tons of coal, the cubic feet or millions of cubic feet of natural gas, even the nuclear power and the renewables that went in, and mapped where they were used and how. But that's really not enough detail to figure out what we have to do for climate change. Let's think about the machines. There's about 1 billion of them. We're going to radically demystify what decarbonisation is really going to mean. 730 million tonnes of coal is mined in the US every year, in 669 coal mines in giant trucks. We have hundreds of giant coal loaders that transfer that into tens of thousands of coal cars that are pulled by thousands of diesel-powered locomotives on 140,000 miles of freight rail to bring all of that coal to 241 coal-fired power plants where we burn it, not very efficiently, to make electricity. We have 27 trillion cubic feet of natural gas that we drill in 300 to 400 offshore rigs. We supplement it with another million, which is astonishing, dotted across the landscape, natural gas wells. We connect that with 320,000 miles of natural gas distribution lines, including 121 LNG terminals where we ship and receive large amounts of bulk gas. We store it in 400 underground facilities, which we use to iron out the daily variations and the monthly and annual variations. And we feed all of that to our 2,000 gas-fired electricity generators, which make a lot of our electricity. And by putting it in 1.3 million miles of gas distribution lines, we get it to all of our homes. Many of you will recognize this. 69 million of our homes has one. It's a gas meter. 3 million of our commercial buildings have one. And on the other side of that meter are the demand-side machines that use all of this fuel. 58 million natural gas furnaces or heaters, space heaters, 56 million gas water heaters, 18 million gas dryers, 35 million gas stoves, 6.5 million gas cooktops, 2 million gas ovens, nearly 2 million hot tubs, 1.5 million swimming pools, 69 million barbecues. So many little blue flames that we now know are harming our children, affecting our respiratory health, and aren't particularly good for the environment in any way. Which brings us to oil. 7.1 million barrels, 300 billion gallons. That feeds 250 million vehicles in our garages. They're recognizable, 25% of them are cars. Half of them now are SUVs and larger crossover vehicles. 20% are pickup trucks, 5% are minivans. We have 8.5 million motorcycles to boot. They're fed by 150,000 gas stations, which require 100,000 tanker trucks to provide a constant feed of oil to them from 135 oil refineries that take raw oil and convert it into gasoline and to diesel for our machines. 224,000 miles of pipeline connects those refineries to our 960,000 wells and to the 63 oil tankers flying under the American flag. Now we know what we have to do, 50% carbon reductions by 2030. This is an astonishing statement, first science-based climate target by a major nation, and I'm proud that we're going there. This is what we have to do. It brings our net zero targets forward in reality to beat 2 degrees from 2050 to 2045, and really we should be aspiring for 2040. It's doable, just barely, and that'll give us the climate our children deserve. What are we going to do? We've got to retire all of the machines I just mentioned to you in the next 20 to 30 years. Tankers, refineries, oil wells, tanker trucks, pipeline, gas stations, offshore platforms, coal mines, coal loaders, the whole lot. They need to be retired, recycled, and retrofitted. You can already hear the earth recovering. You can already hear your children breathing more easily. So what are we going to do after that? We electrify everything. Not quite everything. We're going to use our forestry byproducts, our bio waste, our agricultural waste, and our food waste to create biofuels that can help to decarbonize some of the harder sectors such as aviation, long distance, freight, even agricultural liquid fuels. So we're going to electrify everything else, the great majority of our machines. We're off to a reasonable start. We have nearly 2,500 hydroelectric generators already, 56 nuclear power plants with 94 reactors creating baseload electricity, 64 geothermal plants, 2,500 solar farms increasing daily, 1,500 wind farms with 60,000 turbines, adding a turbine hourly at the moment, 200,000 miles of transmission. They connect to 60,000 distribution substations. These connect to the distribution lines, 5.5 million miles of them, atop the 180 million utility poles that serve our homes and our businesses. We've got 2 million solar rooftops already, which brings us back to the 128 million households in the economy that live in 140 million homes. 74 million of those are in single-family detached. This is the American suburbs, you'll recognize them. 7 million are in single-family attached. These are row houses in our higher density cities. 10 million multi-family units, and 21 million households living in high-rise. 7 million more in mobile homes. These are the decision-making units of the US economy, the household. And if we actually do the accounting not by those abstract sectors, but by where we make our energy purchasing and energy use decisions, our households and our businesses, you wind up with a different perspective. 40% of our emissions resulting from the decisions we make around our kitchen table, and another 20% of our emissions come from the 6 million commercial buildings of our businesses. 60% of our emissions that are on what you can call the no regrets pathway. We already know how to get rid of these emissions. We know what the machines look like. They're at nascent scale, and we need to do them in the next decade. That buys us time to decarbonize the harder sectors by 2040 and 2050 targets. So we're going to electrify everything. There's some really good news in that. EVs use about 1/3 of the energy of their fossil fuel counterparts. Our water heaters, if they're run with heat pumps, will use 1/3 of the energy of their natural gas counterparts. Same with space heating. Heat pumps will eliminate 2/3 of the waste in that sector. Similarly, in generating electricity, when we do it with coal or with natural gas, we lose close to 2/3 of that energy as waste heat. When we generate our electricity with renewables, with wind and with solar, that won't be true. And because close to 10% of the US energy economy is actually finding, mining, refining, and transporting our fuels to support our fossil fuel economy, there's a huge saving there as well. This adds up to an incredible good news story for America. When we move away from our fossil fuel economy to a renewably powered and electrified economy, we need less than half of the energy we think we do today. Same size homes, same size cars, the same American dreams, just without the pollution and with much higher efficiency. There is an inconvenient truth to all of this. We've really not done a lot in the last 2 decades in terms of addressing climate change. So we now have to move incredibly quickly. This is what you call an adoption curve. It's the rate at which we bring a new technology to market. Starts slow, like where we are with electric vehicles now, but once everyone is buying their next car as an electric, then you're a mass adoption, and very soon you saturate the market. So there's critical machines in the economy, and we need to electrify all of them as quickly as retire them. What does that mean? Next time you buy a water heater, has to be electric. Next time you buy a clothes dryer, has to be electric, etc., etc. Our water heaters last 10 to 12 years. Our clothes dryers, 12 to 15. Our kitchen ranges, 15 to 20. We got 85% of our rooftops are asphalt singles. We replace them every 20 years. Every time we replace those rooftops, we need to put solar on top of them. Our furnaces last 20 to 25 years. Our cars and trucks are around 25 years. And our load centers, 40 or so. Every single time we replace any one of these machines in the next 2 decades, they need to be replaced with clean electric technology. We build 1.5 million new homes a year. That means in the next 20, 25 years, we'll build 25% of our building stock. They need to be all electric homes. But it underscores that 3/4 of this job is going to be in retrofits. We have to retrofit our existing building stock with clean electric technology. At the same time, we've got to aggressively retire fossil fuels. Coal first, hopefully in the next decade, oil soon to follow, and natural gas on the heels of that. It's time to plug in. So what do we really need to do? What in detail do we have to build to solve climate change? 250 million electric vehicles, 70 million electric heat pumps, 60 million electric heat pumps for water heaters, 40 million electric induction ovens, 20 million electric heat pump clothes dryers, 2 million electric ovens, 10 million electric motorcycles. We've got to electrify with heat pumps our hot tubs and our swimming pools as well. That's 500 million machines, give or take. And to support the electrification of all those machines, we need to build some critical infrastructure, residential and commercial infrastructure. Probably 100 million of these dull grey boxes that sit in your garage or in your basement called load centers or breaker boxes. They all need to be upgraded to support the new electrical loads. Part of that new electrical load would be the 100 million solar rooftops that we need to install in America. We'll need to add 100 million batteries to these systems and 200 million vehicle chargers so that we can conveniently power all of our vehicles. In total, that's 1 billion machines. That sounds like a lot. You're probably sighing and thinking about the audacity, but we can and we will do that. We've done it before. We did something like that for World War II, where America came to rescue the world and produced the bullets, the airplanes, the boats, the tanks that won World War II for the Allies. Now we have to fight a similar war, but it's not going to be bullets this time, it'll be batteries. It won't be boats, it'll be solar farms. It won't be airplanes, it'll be wind turbines. The other good news is it's a win-win-win. As long as we get the regulations right and we eliminate the friction that artificially inflates the cost today of these solutions, as long as we get to a huge industrial scale, which will bring the cost down by more than half, and as long as we provide convenient financing, so it's cheapest and easiest for every consumer to buy the electric option at their next purchase, then we're going to save every American household more than $2,000 every year into the future. That's going to save the American economy $300 billion a year, every year. Don't believe the alternative lies. This is going to save American money, it's going to save our children, it's going to save our climate. Electrify nearly everything. Join us at Rewiring America. And if you'd like to meditate on the task at hand, this presentation will be available as an adult colouring book at rewiringamerica.org. Thank you very much.